All right, welcome in. It is Friday. It's time for Total Bases. You can see that is my bed behind me. This might be the smallest room I think I've ever gotten at at a Hampton Inn where I tend to stay when I'm out bouncing around going to games, but it's fine. You're just going to have to deal with the bed. Bryan and I got to do some shout outs before we get into the show. And so I ended up in Reading, PA last night. You can see my Reading Fight and Phil's hoodie. I typically don't buy gear at the baseball games because I'm already going broke from doing it during college basketball season. But I had such a great experience in Reading last night that I said, you know what, I got to get the sweatshirt. Everyone there was so cool. The ballpark is awesome, built in 1951. But I was so impressed with every single person I met, just like knew the history of Reading, knew the history of the team, was like super passionate about baseball. You find that a lot in the minors. Like that's not totally uncommon, but they were like, I've been to so many and they just stood out. So shout out to Reading, the Fight and Phil's AA affiliate of the Phillies. And if you get a chance, First Energy Stadium in Reading, PA is an absolute treat, Bryan. So I know you had some people to shout out as well. So welcome in. How was your night last night?
Yeah, it was good. As I said on the show, I wasn't going to have any plays today. I just didn't like anything. So I was able to get out and do some running around that I normally don't get a chance to do. I got to check out the new Iron Maiden documentary at the theaters last night. That was pretty cool. A few things I didn't know in there. And then I've had a problem with my internet being very expensive for a long time, and I've never had the chance to get away and try to negotiate or get a little better deal. So I went to the Cox guys down on Rainbow in Vegas here, and a lot of great guys. They really helped us out last night, saved me a lot of money. And as I was speaking to them, they said, you use a lot of video. And I said, yeah, I do videos every day. And I said, yeah, I work for a company called WagerTalk. And the guy's eyes light up and he goes, I know WagerTalk. And he calls his manager over. He goes, hey, this is one of the guys that work at WagerTalk. And so, of course, being that they know what I do, there are some sports bettors over there. So nice conversation, nice guy, saved me some money. Hey, even though I didn't have any plays yesterday, I made some money. So that was nice. So shout out to those guys. I do appreciate it. And they really did. They saved me some money and got me better service. So, hey, just go out and you leave the house once in a while and you get some benefits.
Hey, you might not have had any plays for clients, but you came in here, gave out the Rockies, an underdog winner, cashed the parlay, Nationals won. So that was nice to get one of those. That puts us back in the plus on the parlay of the day that we do on this show. I won again yesterday, 3 in one day. I swept my I went 2-0 on my top plays, 4% winner in KBO, 4% winner in MLB. Bryan, it's sometimes it's just as simple as getting the bounces, right? Like,
yeah,
I have the Marlins yesterday. That's my 4% play. Kobe Mayo throws the ball into the stands. I win the game. If he makes a routine play, I may go to extra innings and lose that game. It is truly just like, So going back to yesterday's conversation, as we start to get into games, yeah, you don't want to be too crazy and change things up when you're just not getting the bounces, because that tends to come around at some point. And, like I said, I think the last couple days, back-to-back winning days, all I've done differently is just get a little bit more lucky in the spot you need to get lucky in to win a baseball game. Yesterday, no different. Marlins walk it off on an error. When you're getting walk-off wins on an error, Bryan, might be time to start firing out the 5%ers, right? Like that's when you might have to press if that starts happening with regularity.
Yeah, well, the thing is that you win those kind. At least I don't feel that it's an actual win. If you watch the A's game yesterday, yes, that was a victory. And the sad part was the teams I had lost on the previous 2 days or whatever, they all won big yesterday. And I was a little reluctant to give out the A's again on the show. But it's just the way it is. It's just anything in life. It's a long journey, and you have your ups and downs, and you just can't overreact.
Well, Bryan, I don't know if when you signed off, I'm assuming you didn't watch the end of the show, but
I'm sorry, I did not.
I gave the A's out, and I said if Bryan were here, he would give the A's out in this game. So,
Yeah.
it worked out well. Yeah, they absolutely pounded Philly in that series finale. Buddy says hit my 3-leg 100% boost. Love to hear it. He says need a 2-team parlay for minimum minus 200 total odds for 25% boost. Parlay is critical today. Keep it up. Well, we come here every day trying to win. We're certainly going to try to win for you today. We're going to start with the feature game that, in my opinion, is a clear feature game. This could be the NLCS preview right here, Bryan. We got the Braves heading out west. They're taking on the Dodgers tonight. I think at this point in the season, it would be hard to say that anyone else was in line to like play in the championship game more than these two, right? In the NL, it is, right now, the Dodgers, in my opinion, are the team that has the best opportunity to be the best team, right? They haven't been the best team to this point, but they have the best opportunity, in my opinion, to be the best team in the National League. The Braves, yeah, they lost 2 of 3 in a competitive series with a good Mariners team. They've been the best team to this point. So it comes to a head here this weekend. Dodgers, Braves. Were you surprised that the Braves were an underdog here to open up?
Not really. It's not often. In fact, I don't remember the last time. Do you remember the last time the Dodgers were a home underdog? I'm sure it's been a while.
Yeah, I maybe last year at some point when they trotted out like one of their 17 AAA pitchers in a big league game, like at some point. But yeah,
it's the line does not surprise me. If you were to tell me going in, who was I going to take, and I was going to say take the underdog because both teams are so great. But you got Sheehan basically about a 115, 120 favorite here, a total of 8. Sale against Sheehan. Sale, obviously, the lefty. I've been trying to fade Sheehan for most of the year because his velocity has dropped. He had like a little dead arm period, but since then, he's actually come back and pitched pretty well as of late. Chris Sale's been terrific all season long. He has saved that pitching staff at Atlanta with all the injuries they have had all season long. 2 great teams. The problem is the line is about where I expected it to be. If I play it, I probably take Atlanta because I think I trust in a big game. I trust Sale more than I trust Sheehan at this time. Both bullpens are in great shape. So you're going to get the best of the best here. And with a total of 8, I know Dodger Stadium overall is not really a hitter's park, but they do give up a lot of home runs. But if you take a look at Sale and Sheehan, they're 2 elite pitchers, or at least Sale is. So maybe take a look at the under. Let me see what the first half is on this one. First half, we're looking at basically the same line, and with 4.5. If you can get, I see a 4.5 under 25 out there, or minus 130. If you can get it 30 or less, that wouldn't be a bad play. The first 5 under in that regard. So yeah, it's a great game to watch, no doubt about it. I don't know if I can make any money betting wise on it.
Yeah, I think the starting pitching was where I was going to go with, when I was asking you whether I thought you thought the Braves should be favored or not. I think that clearly has ties to this pitching matchup. Chris Sale has been outstanding. So far this year, he's held a whip under 1, 49 strikeouts in, it's like in 42 innings pitched to this point. So well over a strikeout per inning. That's just elite stuff from a starting pitcher. We know Chris Sale's got the track record of being an elite starting pitcher when he's at his best. There aren't many better still doing it than he is. And the last 2 starts, 11 strikeouts against the Rockies, 9 against the Phillies, 7 against the Phillies the time before that, 6 against the Guardians. And in that game, he went 6 innings, gave up 1 run. Aside from just a very, now looks like an uncharacteristic blow up against the Angels, there hasn't been another start where he hasn't been dominant. Coincidentally, that came out in LA. It was just across town, on a road game with the Angels. Not sure if that really matters here. He did pitch in altitude last time. We've talked about sort of the come down from, playing in altitude. Again, not sure that really matters either. That was 5 days ago. But, to me, like, the one thing we've talked about with the Dodgers is they're not hitting the way we would expect the Dodgers to hit, but at the same time, they're 23-14, and you've kind of brought a great stat. It's like they're still well up there in like WRC plus. So is like subconsciously, just because like Shohei isn't like setting the world on fire, do we like subconsciously think the Dodgers aren't hitting, because they still kind of are they not?
Yeah, I think they regained the lead in baseball at WRC plus. They're at 123. They're 1 point ahead of Chicago. Atlanta's fourth at 119. So you got two of the top four hitting teams in baseball. And when it comes down to Sheehan, he hasn't pitched in 7 days. As TB would say, players are a habit, but a six starter rotation in LA would have something to do with that. And by the way, I did speak to TB last night. He's excited. He'll be back on Monday. So we've been getting a lot of that in the chat. Where the hell is TB? He is going to be back on Monday. But yeah, I love the game. But if there is betting involved, I need to give my clients the best chance to win. I just don't see it in this game.
One more thing I'll point out. You've always been sort of higher, I think, than like the market on Emmett Sheehan. And I don't think you're incorrect about that. I think he got off to kind of a bad start this year. I've always liked him too. His last two starts, struck out 10 against the Cubs, 8 against the Cardinals. Those are two pretty good lineups right there. And even though he didn't complete 5 innings against the Cardinals, 4 2/3, yeah, he gave up the 4 runs, but 8 strikeouts, no walks, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk against the Cubs. And again, 2 lineups, like we've talked about the Cubs, 1 through 9 have been awesome. You've been all over the Cardinals. They win again last night, having great at bat after great at bat. I kind of feel like I think this could be an under. Like this feels like a very competitive, like hard fought game. You look at the Braves, they kind of cooled off in that series with the Mariners. Every game was like tight and low scoring. You talked about them being top 5. Is it possible the Braves are going to cool off a little bit offensively? And then you've got Chris Sale. This feels like an under to me, Bryan.
Well, the only thing is they pitch in Seattle, which is very much a pitcher's park. So, yeah, the hitting, you don't know. It's like when somebody leaves Colorado or Oakland or Sacramento, excuse me. Is the offense good or bad? You never know. But I will say that Emmett Sheehan, as much as I like him, he has had some control problems against lefties. His walk percentage is high. His ball percentage is high. So that's 2 things to worry about. But other than that, 2 excellent pitchers, and should be a fun game.
Gare says, is Odds Logic working? Now, I am not Odds Logic customer support, so don't quote me on this, but anytime my Odds Logic is going blank or doesn't work, I completely shut everything down. I shut the browser down, make sure no windows are open. I reopen it. I log in. It works pretty much every time I do that. So give that a shot. I hope it works. If it doesn't, your boy does not work for Odds Logic. So you're going to have to maybe email into customer support, but that does tend to work for me.
Yeah, I will say I'm watching it right now. It's working for me. They did do an update. They've been doing a lot of updates. They're doing so many updates I can't even keep up at this point. But there was something that flashed up earlier today. I'll have to check it out later. But if you want a free week of oddslogic.com, and you can check that out over there right now. Just get in touch with the office at WagerTalk, and they'll set you up for a free week and try it out. It's an awesome product, but some days you just have to, like a lot of times I'll let it run all day long because I'm looking for certain lines. But a lot of times in the morning, you probably should shut it down and then recheck it, and they'll take care of things like that. So,
somebody asked, is TB gone from the show? No, he will be back on Monday. Mike S asks about the other TB. That's the Tampa Bay Rays, who cannot lose. Finally had an over last night. I feel like we sort of teased that on the show yesterday. But admittedly, I like the Red Sox last night. I'm glad I did not get to the window with it because they lost the game. The Rays, I think it's like 12 of 13 or 13 of 14 right now. Just playing incredible baseball. They hit last night, Brian. They scored 8 runs. That's, I'm over here being critical of the Rays while they keep winning every single game 3-2. How long can you win games 3-2, 4-2, 2-1, 1-0? Well, last night they came out, no problem, 8 runs, and they knock off the Red Sox for another win. Mike S. says, can't help but like the Rays again. I agree they're getting lucky, but they do all the small things right. And then, last night they had their outburst and scored 8 runs. But, Brian, I'm a stubborn guy. You know that. I said I like the Red Sox yesterday. I did not bet them. I'm happy I did not bet them. But you also know that I'm a Connolly early guy. And I badly want to bet them here. I have not done it yet because you know what? I'm hoping people bet the Rays and give me a better price to do so. But I have a pretty strong lean to the Red Sox. How do you see this one?
Yeah, they got Schulten's going today. You thought he may go yesterday as a backup, but no, he's going today. I guess kind of early. You're not going to get – I expect both guys to go the full 5 innings. You're not going to get too many strikeouts here. They both have like 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So that's pretty much what you want to shoot for, at least 2-to-1 in that regard. I will say, by the way, I usually give a weather situation for everybody, but as of right now, there's no really any weather problems or anything. The wind's not blowing out like crazy anywhere. So we're going to see a pretty normal day in baseball in that regard. But yeah, Boston is a team on the rise, and Tampa Bay, they haven't lost a game in the month of March, or excuse me, May. So they're all excited. They're playing very well. I always like the way that they play. In fact, Boston was one of the first big payroll kind of programs that decided to go Moneyball, and it's worked out well for them. They have had more success during that time than the Yankees have since then. So yeah, really good game here. 2 guys out here that can definitely put in a good effort from the mound. We're looking at Early right now. He's the lefty in about a 135 favorite. I'm seeing from 29 to 40, 44 or something. So make sure you shop around. Total on this is 8.5 to the over. And 2 teams I'm looking to back right now until I'm not going to short Tampa Bay until they lose a couple games. But the problem is when you have teams, and I've said this many times before, you have a team that everybody knows is hot, you're going to be paying a premium. Not sure you're paying much of a premium to back them today. I like Early obviously better, but it's rare that you find a team on this winning streak that Tampa is that you can get them, in upwards of plus 125 here. That may be the way I would play it, but since I don't have to play it, I'll sit this one out.
Brian, have you ever been to Fenway Park? I didn't know if you've been to that one or not.
People aren't going to like this, but I'm a heavyset guy. I've been to Fenway a few times. I've been to Wrigley Field. Yes, they have their quirks. The people are great. They're a great place to see a ball game. But I don't like Fenway Park from the point of view that the seats are so small, and if you go up and down the steps, there's not enough room for 2 people to walk. So it takes twice as long to go to the bathroom, twice as long to get your concessions. Give me the modern ballparks. I don't need the nostalgia. If I want nostalgia, I'll listen to music or watch old baseball games or whatever. But I would rather see the Red Sox on TV than have to go to Fenway Park. And I know that's opposite of what a lot of people think, but yeah, it's just the way it is for me.
It is a fair assessment. It was built like 100 years ago. So yeah, they haven't upgraded a ton. But the point I'm going to make here is like a Fenway Park on Friday night, I've been many times, is just, it's going to be 60 at first pitch. It's probably the first Friday of the year that they've had a home game where it's like the weather's going to be really good. And it's going to rain like later in the weekend. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere for like, you go to enough regular season baseball games and it's like, there's some are better attended than others. Right. And it's like Fenway is one of those places where a Friday night in early May will feel like most people's playoff games. And I don't think they get it. I don't think it gets enough credit for that. Like they will have this game will probably be sold out. It'll be electric. It's going to be again first really nice Friday night game of the year. So you're going to have the crowd into it. They're the Rays come in. They're playing winning baseball, so you're going to have the Red Sox are going to want this one, especially if they're losing on national TV last night. And I just feel like Schultens, he didn't come in and piggyback yesterday. You were right about Griffin Jacks being stretched out. Jacks goes 4 innings, and then it's a kind of the Rays B relievers kind of cleaning up after that. But they still needed to use at least one of their leverage guys to get that home. Probably use like 4 different relievers in total. Point is here, Schultens doesn't get a ton of swing and miss. I do think, the Red Sox tend to hit the ball well in this ballpark. This is another one where like Fenway is a very solid hitter park. That big green, obviously the green monster, but it extends all the way to center field. It creates a very good visual for hitting the baseball. Probably, I can't believe they used to like let fans be out in dead center. They haven't for years. So it's a nice clean backdrop for hitting. Hitters love it. You talk about Schultens guys going to come in, not get a ton of swing and miss. I just think that they're actually at a pretty big disadvantage. The Rays being on the road and then up against Connolly early, who in my opinion is the better of the 2 starters. Going to have the Red Sox with their leverage guys. I just love the spot here. So like Colin, I'm with my guy Colin in the chat. He's like, line is telling you Red Sox are going to win. Don't care about the value. It's a winner. That's a TB statement if I've ever heard one. Just, it's going to win. Doesn't matter what the number is. But yeah, I mean, it's not far enough off. It is not far enough off where I'm not like willing to take a shot. So this will be my leg of the parlay here. I'm gonna think about it. It may make the client card. You know what? Because I do think there's a world, Brian, where the Rays take some money at some point today. Like, because if you watch the market on this run, like they've been getting some love from sharp bettors throughout this run. And when that happens, like sometimes they just keep coming back and coming back. So Red Sox is going to be my parlay leg for the show. And it's one I'm going to think about throughout the day. But I think they win here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little Rays regression over the next couple of weeks.
Well, you can't help but have a little bit of regression because they've been good for so long. But Roman Anthony back on the IL. They brought up Mickey Gasper. But if you're looking for the no run in the first inning, yes run in the first inning, all the top 4 guys for the Tampa Bay Rays are all hot. They're all the top 100. And if you take a look at the top 3 guys in the Boston lineup, they're hot right now. Durant's finally hitting well. He's 18th. And he's their leadoff hitter. He has been a very big disappointment all season long, but he's finally starting to break out of it. And we all know that a lineup from 1 to 9, they're very good. I like Kalen Durbin, and they've got him really low in the batting order, 9th. So this is a team in Boston that could put some runs up, and we'll see. Maybe they'll put something up in the first inning there. So we'll see how this goes. But another game I'll be watching, but I won't be part of.
Roy in the chat says, talk some of these premier games. I don't know how you get much more premier game than Braves, Dodgers, and Rays, Red Sox. But you know what? I see you guys asking for Brewers, Yankees. So let's go there. That's another big one. That might be our best pitching matchup of the day, Brian. That's Max Fried's been tremendous. He's going to go up against the young flamethrower, Jacob Mizorowski. Someone asked me yesterday, can't remember if it was on the show, but it was actually in the show comments. So, I'll use this time to plug the replay of the show, WagerTalk YouTube channel. This show, if you miss any, it's on demand. Jump in the comments. We always answer the questions. We try to get in there a couple times a day. Someone asked me yesterday, Trick, is it a good time to bet the Brewers to win, to maybe win the NL, to win the NL Central, so on and so forth? And my answer was yes. I said, this is probably the time to jump in if you like the Brewers. Because going into the year, I thought the Brewers were in the conversation. Like if you had the Dodgers 1, everyone had the Dodgers 1 coming into the year in the NL. I think you could have made a pretty strong case that the Brewers, like on paper coming into the season, were the second best team in the National League. Now, the Braves have emerged as that, the Cubs, a lot of people, the Cubs would put the Cubs in that conversation as well. But, I look at teams like the Phillies, the Mets, like, I don't think they're really going to get like entirely back in the mix. They may play themselves in the respectability, but I don't know that they're big time contenders. And then I look in their farm system and I've got some concerns. Whereas I look at the Brewers farm system and I love what I see. So many good, they have pitching for days. They have Luis Lara is down at AAA. They've already paid Cooper Pratt. We haven't even seen him in the big leagues yet. He already got like 8-year contract. He didn't quite get the Connor Griffin treatment from the amount, but they locked him up before he ever played a big league game. So he's probably coming. He has a foot injury at AAA right now, but like as soon as he's healthy. And then of course you just got Jackson Chourio back, Andrew Vaughn back, and you haven't really had Christian Yelich this year. So to answer the question of like, is it time to buy the Brewers like long term? 100%. I'll sign off on that all day. The question now that people want to know in the chat, Bryan, is can we buy the Brewers tonight against the Yankees at home, or are you on the visitor? Boy, is it hard to go against Max Fried right now.
Yeah, it is. Max Fried, the lefty, against Mizrachi. Fried and the Yankees are about a 130 favorite, basically, and a total of 7 to the over. Fried is a guy who has been terrific. He's been very consistent all season long. I believe he just had one slip up on the season. Mizrachi is a guy I'm looking to bet. You're getting, and I was talking to the guys at the Cox store yesterday about simple things that a lot of people should know. And I said you're rarely going to get value on teams like the Dodgers or the Yankees. And this is in a team like Milwaukee. St. Louis is another one I like. Your Cleveland's, those kind of teams, you usually find value on. So we got an organization in Milwaukee playing at home as an underdog that you find value on. The game means nothing. The problem you have for the Yankees is they're the hunted no matter where they go, just based on who they are, even if they don't have a great season. It's all I know from my days in Cleveland. It's always great when you can say, hey, we suck, but we beat the Yankees. Well, it's a great situation for Milwaukee. I'm sure this is going to be a sellout crowd for the Brewers. I like Mizrachi. In fact, if you're looking for strikeout numbers, my numbers that I use say he's going to get 8.9 strikeouts today. The Yankees have some guys with a lot of swing and miss in that lineup. They just brought up, by the way, the guy from the minors, Jones, who I don't know if he's going to play today or not, but because of another injury to one of their outfielders, they're bringing him up, and he's all swing and miss. He is Joey Gallo to the next level. So he may hit a home run. He may strike out all 5 times he comes to bat, but that's the kind of power they have. Milwaukee does not do that. Milwaukee's a team that grinds them out. They got some great runners on this team, a lot of speed. One of the things for the Yankees is maybe the best hitter in baseball right now, at least for the season. The catcher, first baseman, is injured. So he has been injured. Don't know when he's coming back, if it's going to be this game or not. I haven't heard anything yet. So keep that in mind as the day goes on if he will be playing. But I kind of like Milwaukee here. I always like the teams that nobody gives any credit to. And since Tokyo Brand is not here, I think I just got something in my little earpiece I'm not wearing saying that the Brewers suck. So, yeah, maybe Milwaukee is the way to look at this game.
Yeah, just so Spencer Jones is going to get the call. Some would say it's a little overdue, but he also, like, that's kind of the knock. You nailed like what the knock on him is at AAA. Like his under, like the metrics, like the computer guys probably hate him. The MIT like math geeks, like there's no way they all probably think Spencer Jones is going to be a bust because he swings and misses a lot. His like swing rating isn't very high. That's, I think I just made that term up, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. Like the computer guys are like poking holes in him like left and right, probably similar to like they've said about Pete Alonso for years. But like here's the thing though. This guy's not like hitting $150 and struggling at AAA. He's straight mashing at AAA. Like he is gonna be like a power guy. He's gonna strike out. but when he hits the ball, usually leaves the ballpark, hits the wall. He's had a ton of extra bases. I think is racking up RBIs at the AAA level this year. So I'm really interested to see how he pans out a little bit here in the big leagues. What I think is like here's my kind of thing, Brian. If you have success hitting at AAA, you will still have some success in the big leagues. The bottom half of the pitching that you're going to face in the big leagues is probably going to be kind of similar to AAA. But when you run into a guy like Mizorowski, that's not the best matchup for someone like Spencer Jones. So it's like maybe he's in the lineup here. I could see him being a little overmatched in that one-on-one matchup. I guess I thought here's like where I'm having a hard time with this one. Right now, with how good the Yankees have played, I almost feel like I need to be getting like insane value to fade them. I didn't necessarily think I was getting that here. You're talking about like how good the Yankees have been, how good Fried has been, and he's only like minus 125, minus 130. I can see where someone would say, oh, like that's a great price on the Yankees. But at the same time, I'm very pro Brewers right now. I think the Brewers are a buy for me. It's going to be very difficult for me to fade Milwaukee as they're getting guys back. And just because they've only played like roughly over 500 ball to this point in the year, I think this team's going to be 10, 15 games over 500 at some point. Like that's where they're going. So I think I'm with you. If I had to play this game, I'm going to start buying. I bet the Brewers for a 4% best bet the other day. I think it was their most recent game because I don't think they played yesterday. So this would have been their game on Wednesday, which they won. I could only go back to the Brewers here. I think I'm with you. It would have to be Brewers or pass for me. All right, let's continue on. You're going to get a 2-pick parlay. Bruce says, can we get a 2-pick parlay? I'm going to use the Red Sox in the parlay. We're going to figure out where Brian's going to go, but we're also going to make you hang around for a few more minutes before you get Brian's pick. So in the meantime, I'm going to appease the guy that tells me we never talk about the Reds, which is not true. We've talked about the Reds a bunch over the last week. And we'll also answer Stokes' question. He says, Houston over the Reds. That, of course, is the Astros against the Reds in Cincinnati tonight. The very first game off the board today at 6:10 Eastern. Astros, Reds. Reds have been lucky. We've beat it to death on this show so far this year. But they're starting to come back to the pack a little bit. Struggled a little bit earlier in the week, lost their closer. Now they come into play today, just 2 games over 500 at 20-18. What do you think about the Reds here? The Astros haven't been very good as well. Do they bounce back this weekend, or do you think their luck continues to run out?
Yeah, I'm glad you went to this game because this will be my part of the parlay. Excuse me. We've got Houston and Burrows against Lodolo, the lefty for Cincinnati, coming back from his twice blister stay on the IL or whatever. We're looking at Cincinnati in a 145 favorite here, a total of 9. That line expects full regular season healthy Nick Lodolo. I don't anticipate that. Anytime you've got a guy coming back with blister problems, he could be gone in the first inning. You talked about the Cincinnati bullpen. Right now, they've lost their closer, terrible injury. He's gone. Nobody else out there that has proven themselves to be a major league closer. That's a major concern right here, especially if something happens to Lodolo. Now, I never want anybody to get hurt or injuries or whatever, but it's something you have to take into account with his first start back. The Reds do not want to put him back on the IL if they have any problems. They're going to be very cognizant of what he does, and they probably won't, even if he's healthy, they probably won't let him go too long in this game, which means the Cincinnati bullpen needs to play a little bit more. And we also have Mike Burrows going for Houston. Liked him when he was in Pittsburgh. Obviously, Houston liked him. They traded away some pretty good players to get him, but he has not pitched well this season. And as much as Cincinnati is considered a good hitting ballpark over the years, it hasn't been as much this year. But I think there will be some runs scored in this game. We're getting a total of 9 here. It has been bet down a little bit from 9.5 early. But if you can get it at 9, minus 110, which is all out there right now, I think I trust Houston's offense and Cincinnati's offense a little bit better than I trust the pitching in this game tonight. So I'm going to go with the over in this one, and it would not surprise me if Houston, if you're looking to bet a side, that line looks awful high to me, considering we don't know how long Lodolo is going to go, and he is coming back from injury. Burrows is better than what he has shown so far this season, but it's going to take a while to get that ERA back down. I like the over in this game.
I am at 9.8 runs in this game, so I think I agree with you here. If you can get a 9 flat, which I think you said right now, Astros Reds over 9 is like minus 110. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of places out there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Great American Ballpark, always been a hitter's park. I mean, even if short term says otherwise, this has been a hitter's park forever. It's always going to be a ballpark that I'm going to expect offense. Nick Lodolo, I watched his start with Louisville earlier this week, or I think it was last week, about 6 days ago. He threw it okay, 4 1/3, gave up 5 hits, walked 2, 6 strikeouts. That's great, but Omaha's got one of the weaker lineups at AAA, so it's like, all right, they still had some traffic on the bases against him. I wouldn't be that surprised if 5 innings, a couple runs is what you got out of him here. I could see him going 5, maybe giving up a run or 2. But even if that's the case, right now the Reds are still going to be asked to probably piece together 4 innings, and we know they don't have a closer at this point. Whether he, even if they can replace the closer, they still just lost one of their most consistent bullpen arms. So I think that's a bigger deal than maybe people are think it is at this point. You get into a leverage spot later in the game, and now suddenly you have to bump someone into that closer role. It's not like the Reds have this super deep bullpen. And so I think that's an issue for them for sure. We know the Astros have a poor bullpen. Their bullpen's been atrocious all year. So you might get some late runs against the Astros. They're not flush with great relievers. And then you talk about Mike Burrows. Yeah, he has not looked good. You have to wonder if maybe he just hasn't caught on with the new coaches, because of course he comes up through the Pirates organization. He got his shot with the Pirates last year, was very solid in his time in the big leagues, but he just has not figured it out yet this year. Had a couple of games recently where he did get the swing and miss back up, 7 strikeouts against the Cardinals, 8 against the Yankees. But even in those games, he's still giving up loud contact, still gave up 8 hits to the Red Sox last time out. There hasn't been a single game this year, Bryan, where he's given up less than 2 earned runs. So he's given up 2 earned runs or more in every single start, and he has not gone more than 6 innings. So 6 innings has been where he's topped out as far as how deep he's pitched into the game. I think you're probably going to get something off of him. And then if you get, let's say you get a combined 7 innings out of the bullpen here, both sides, 7 or 8 innings where both teams have to piece together 7 or 8 innings of bullpen. I kind of think you're going to be right about this over. And then, hey, you get to 4-4, that 9 to 9.5 with the over is as important of a number as 7 to 7.5 with the under. So getting the 9 flat is huge there.
Yeah, you mentioned something that I'll come back on it. The first half of this game, Burrows and Lodolo is roughly 4.5 over 15 to I see as high as over 30 out there. So it's basically 5. It's a little less than 5. I'm not Fezzik. I'm not going to give you the 4.75. But if they're expected to score 5 runs in the first 5 with the better part of what they have, that gives them 4 innings to score 4 more runs. And I think the second half of this game will probably have more runs scored than the first half because of the bullpen situations for these teams. So, Houston's bullpen's looking a little bit better. Their 8th inning guy is starting to come around a little bit, and they should be getting their closer back in the next couple of weeks. I believe he's going out on a minor league rehabilitation. But they'll be better. Houston bullpen will be much better in the second half than they have been so far this year. But we could take advantage of it in this one.
Someone in the chat is asking for the Robbie Snelling rundown, and I could definitely give that to you. Bryan may have some opinions on that. I know you have opinions on the youngster that the person that he's going to go up against here. Foster Griffin has come up a couple of different times on this show, but yeah, Robbie Snelling will make his major league debut tonight for the Miami Marlins. So here's, he's a first rounder from 2022. And here's what I'll say about him. Like, I rate out, so right here, I hand write out my minor league rankings every day, adjust them every single day, because it's important to do it every day, because the rosters are so fluid at AAA that like one or two roster moves is typically going to make or break a bet at the minor league level. So you got to know every single day. That's what all this handwritten stuff is right here. And each player, for me, I have like a rating system, okay? And the reason I'm bringing this up and spending time on this is because Robbie Snelling, for me, I don't remember a year since I started betting minor league baseball where one guy was so far ahead of the next guy in the ratings. Now, that can mean one of two things. One, it can mean Robbie Snelling is really, really good. He is. I think he's, if you look at his numbers at minor and what he's done at AAA so far this year, yeah, he's nasty. The other thing it could mean, just to keep ourselves in check here, is there just isn't a ton of great pitching at AAA this year. I think that's valid as well. This year just doesn't seem to have like anyone that's been really good at AAA so far is probably already in the big leagues. Like there just isn't like so much stud pitching like there has been in the past years. But for context, the last guy I think I rated this highly at the AAA level was Paul Skeens. Now, do I think Robbie Snelling is Paul Skeens? No, I'm not saying that. So chill. I'm not saying he's Skeens. Do I think he's like a legitimate ace and maybe the first like legit ace to come out of the minors this year? I think that's possible. I think like the ceiling for this guy is like ace of this staff. I think when he was I think he was probably the 30th or, it was late first rounder when he got drafted. So they certainly drafted him to be the guy, right? If you're drafted in the first round as a pitcher, like they think you probably have that type of upside. He has been tremendous for Jacksonville this year. I see no reason why he doesn't dominate the Nats lineup tonight. This is a lineup that profiles worse against lefties. I told you yesterday, I think they set up better against righties. Last 2 days, they came out and pounded some poor Twins pitching, poor right-handed pitching from the Twins yesterday. Here, they're going to get a good lefty. I like the Marlins again, and I think Robbie Snelling pitches well tonight, Bryan.
Yeah, the lefties for my lefty situation they've hit on this season. They have hit lefties better, but it's been going down if you take a look at the WRC plus in that regard. Luis Garcia is injured for Washington. Good thing he's injured, because I've never seen somebody in the baseball, when I look at the rankings here on Fangraphs.com for the power rankings the last 7 days, he's 400. I've never seen a 400 out there. So he obviously something's wrong with him, and he's been injured this week. Washington's been hitting a little bit better. The Miami side, the first three guys in the Miami lineup have been hitting well, but after that, it drops off fast. They've got a lot of guys struggling right now in this game. I like the pitching situation for both Washington and Snelling. Griffin's a guy that I've been on him a lot since he came over his second trip to the majors, and Snelling's a guy, obviously, we've been waiting for a while. It was actually they've got some guys in the minors that are pitching very well, and Braxton Garrett, they thought maybe coming up, but they had him pitch, was it yesterday or the day before? So they knew that it was Snelling, and they've got some other guys in the minor leagues that are starting to come on from a pitching standpoint too. So as we've said the last couple of years, loving the future of this Miami Marlins team. They're not going to spend a lot of money, but they've got a lot of great minor leaguers, whereas San Diego, some of the other teams, They've traded away Baltimore. They've traded away a lot of their guys in the minors, but a couple of lefties going here. I always like to bet on teams that are bet the unders on teams that are facing lefties because you don't see them as often. And I like these two lefties. And although the total is 8 over -120, 8.5 under -115, something like that. So it's about 8.25, as Fezzik would say. I like the under. The bullpens are set up pretty good here, and I think this is going to be a low scoring game. And hey, this is more of I've been to the stadium. It's some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. If been to the stadium, and it's one more reason to go back because Marlins haven't been very good lately. But I like the under in this game. I think it'll be a low scoring game, and it would not surprise me if we get at least 5 innings out of both these starters, and we'll see how it goes. But when you bring up a lefty, and I've said this many times, you bring up a lefty first time through the league, and that's Snelling. He has a lot of success. We've seen that with Prelip with Minnesota. He's been making money for his backers, and he's in Cleveland today. So very, very similar situation. I like the under in this one.
I love the under. I love anything Snelling correlated. Listen, he's going to reunite with his catcher. They called his catcher up earlier this week, Joe Mack, who also happens to profile as like one of the best defensive catchers that has come out of the minors in recent years. So, you get Robbie Snelling. Typically you get called up and you got to get on the same page with the big league catcher. In this case, he doesn't have to. Snelling and Mack have basically gone every step of the way together. So he's getting to the big leagues and his catcher's already there. That's huge that he doesn't have to get on the same page with a veteran catcher that's just learning his stuff. No, he's got Joe Mack who's basically been with him every step of the way in the minors. I think that's really important for him. And then of course, 29 innings at AAA this year, 44 strikeouts, a 0.90 whip, an ERA under 2. I think he's going to be a star, and I think you're going to see that tonight against the Nats. So Snelling, anything Snelling related, under. I even think the Marlins, Brian, you talked about some of their struggles lately. They needed something to go right, and to win the game like they won last night, sort of late, they blew the lead, right? They gave the lead away in the 8th inning. Here it looks like, oh, this is going to be another sort of gut-wrenching loss. And then they win on an error, 2 outs. It looked like they were going to extra innings. Kobe Mayo throws the ball into the stands and they win the game. That could start this run that I think the Marlins have in them. So I may continue to press with the Marlins after that win. And I think that this is a good spot and matchup to do so. Well, we got time for one more. I know we'll go a little long today. We had a long intro. Real quick, the people want to get your thoughts on the Guardians. You brought up Prelip, so I thought that was a good transition because one young lefty, Connor Prelip is another one. Maybe he isn't as hyped up as Snelling, but he was another one that was pretty high on my rate. He would have probably been 2 on my power rankings if he was still down in the minors. So of course, guy gets called up, they come out of my rankings. So that's I'm referencing them as of today. Prelip gets called up a couple weeks ago. He's looked pretty good so far. He's up against someone that we both love, Parker Messick. He's your guy. He's your ace of the future potentially for the Guardians. So Twins Guardians, how do you see this one?
Yeah, they're going a couple of lefties go on today. So the first thing I want to take a look at how's they've done WRC plus on the season versus lefties. Cleveland is actually 109. They've hit better against lefties than they have against righties this year, which you don't see very often because they usually have a lot of lefties in the lineup. And when you look at Minnesota against lefties, they come in at 99. So they're about league average, about the same as they are versus righties. I definitely like the 2 pitchers, but we're getting a total of 7.5 here. That said, that's the only way I could look in this one is I'm not going to go against my situation where teams coming in against lefties and to score runs. So I'm looking for the under here. Even though it is 7.5, I'd prefer the 8. I believe it might have been 8 heavy on the overnight, but Prelip the lefty against Messick the lefty. Messick, this is probably, would you consider this other than one other game? He has faced a lot of really good hitting teams in baseball this year. Minnesota's not. Minnesota is not one of the better offenses. I may have said that they were at 98, 99 and WRC plus. That's a little bit less than average. I think they've been hitting over their heads a little bit. But I think Messic's going to have a field day out there with them. So I would look to play some Messick props, maybe strikeouts, walks under, things of that effect. I wouldn't have any problem with that. Maybe Minnesota home run hitters under, because this is not the greatest home run park. Although if you hit it to right center field, it tends to run pretty good. But when you've got the lefty on the mound, chances are most of your balls are going to go to the left side of the field. But I like the under here. Like both the pitchers and the Cleveland bullpen is showing some signs now. They're getting some guys back. And unless the Minnesota bullpen gets blown up late in this game, which something could happen, but I'm not a big fan of this Cleveland offense. I like the under.
Yeah, I'll take it one step further. I like the first 5 under. It's under 4 minus 110 for the first 5 under. Now, you see this game and it's like, like these two pitchers, Messick, I think is pretty clearly the Guardians' ace at this point. Prelip, if you don't think you may not think he's the ace for the Twins right now, but I think he is. Like I think, especially if Joe Ryan remains hurt, I think Prelip will be the best pitcher on this team, like going forward. Like I think I think he has the most upside for sure. Point is, typically you're not, you're looking at a full game total here at 7.5, right? That kind of implies ace versus ace. But I think because there's this like thought process that the Twins bullpen is so bad, it's almost like it's just weird. I was surprised to see a 4 instead of a 3.5 for the first 5 total. Like I would have, you know what I mean? Like I thought that it would have been priced as if more of the runs would come later with these two teams. And yet you're getting a 4 flat when I think it should be 3.5. So I think if you're going to go under there, I also think you could look at first 5 under because that you're getting a half run cushion that I don't think you should get.
Here's another thing. We talked about the Odds Logic site earlier, and it continues to work for me. I don't have any problems with it. You need to shop for lines. I'm seeing anywhere, if you do like the Minnesota side, and this is just one game, just as an example at the end of the show, you can get as low as plus 120, as high as plus 134 out there. If you're betting into that 120, I don't care how good of a handicapper you are not going to win long run. You're getting 14 cents better if you can shop around. I'm even seeing a 140 in one place here in Vegas. So that's 20 cents differential. Make sure you open up as many accounts as you possibly can. Put in the minimum. Put in whatever, $100 in each one. You never want to get anything but the best line possible for yourself. And that's how you make money in the long run, even if you're grinding. Grinding in baseball is great. Grinding in other sports, it doesn't have the same ability. But still, if you're taking a plus 134 when there's a 120 out there, regardless of the game wins or not, in the long run, you're in pretty good shape.
Bryan, while you have your odds logic screen open, can you let me know what the Red Sox money line is, fair price, as we recap the parlay here?
Okay, Red Sox right now, I'm seeing anywhere from a 128 to 140, but most seem to be in about the 133, 135 range.
We'll call it minus 135. So that is, we have reached the end of the show. We did lock our 2-teamer in already. I went with the Red Sox on the money line, and Bryan is going to go Astros Reds over 9. So minus 135 on that Red Sox money line, minus 110 on Astros Reds over 9. We won the parlay yesterday, so we're now back to plus 2.6 units on the season for these parlays, just every single one being 1. And we'll be back to 3-teamers as soon as Tokyo Brandon is back. So our goal is just to stay in the plus until then. Hopefully we can hit another 2-teamer today. Hopefully we hit our client plays as well. And if you want those are at the WagerTalk site. We've got great specials. The ones we've been talking about all week. 30 days, got $100 off and 10 free days. That's a great special. The double play package where you can get all of mine and Bryan baseball plays, Tokyo Brandon included in that. Pick 2 of us and get all of the baseball that we have. And then, of course, the best bang for your buck, anything longer term, the fact that you can get annual all access for your handicapper right now under $100 a month is a great deal. Long term, that's probably, you want to pay as little for the picks as possible over the, because again, if you're paying for picks, it's going to come out of your bottom line. You really want to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. And so right now, getting a month for under $100 is a pretty good deal. Of course, there's so many different ways to save on the website. 3-day is actually discounted as well now. So check those out. I'm going to have client plays in Major League Baseball for sure today. I flirted with the idea of a 5%. I don't know if I'm going to go there yet. I was just feeling good last night. Get a walk-off area. Like, all right, 5% the next day. Got to do it. But the point is, we're going to have big plays this weekend. Bryan's been killing the NHL and the NBA playoffs. So check that out. And we will see you guys. Remember, Saturday, 10 a.m., the weekend time, the extra hour to sleep in on Saturday. It's really just so we can go right before last call. But the two of us will be here at 10 a.m. tomorrow for more Total Bases. Have a great day, everybody.